Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 162, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm here ready to close out 2018. A very busy year, but I'm here with my partner, Brian Hall.
Hey, good morning. Wow, I'm just getting used to writing 2018 on my checks. Doesn't that just happen?
No, I'm still writing 2001. That's how far back I'm just getting over Y2K.
You're right. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad we made it, right?
No airplanes fell out of the sky, and no, all this stuff that they were prognosticating.
Yeah, there's a podcast. I think it's called Surviving Y2K that I've seen written about quite a bit. That's pretty good, and I'm interested to check that out. It's one of those things now. I think we've mentioned, especially with the OJ documentaries in the past couple of years, like we're seeing the history that we lived examined now through documentaries and podcasts. And
how did you prepare for Y2K? Because I remember very distinctly my folks were out of town, and I just I filled up several buckets of water. That's what I remember doing.
I was at a friend's house. I don't remember doing much personally, but my family at that time, we had a split-level house, and it had flooded twice.
Okay.
And it was due to a faulty sump pump. Mm-hmm. And so my dad went and bought a generator, and he was like, this thing is not flooding again. And turns out, we didn't need it for that night, but we did need it in the future when the thing would go haywire again. So it ended up being a good purchase.
Well, there we go. Well, that wraps up this episode of This Old House.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, some Hall history for you there.
And now movie film.
But that was a thing, not a nail biter, but that was a moment where you're like, most people wanted to be like, oh, everyone's overreacting, but no one knew.
There was a small part of you. Well, the whole, like, maybe there's a fraction of our audience listening who doesn't understand this, but yeah, the whole issue was that people were worried that when it went from 99 to 2000, since a lot of the software and stuff was just 2-digit, it would just go to 0, and then the dead would rise from the grave. I don't know what the link was. But the idea was like it would just be total chaos. And we think about that in hindsight, and we're like, well, that's a really stupid thing. Like if that was in fact the thing that led to like the human apocalypse, it would be gratuitously stupid,
Yeah, or fitting, that we've depended on computers for so long, and something so stupid and minuscule could take us all down.
It would be the stupid apocalypse.
Yeah, I listened to the first episode of that podcast, and basically some IT people were working on software and trying to figure out why things were going haywire, and it was because they were plotting ahead past the year 2000, and I guess it took them a really long time to figure it out, but they realized it was that 2-digit problem, and they were like, this could be a worldwide problem.
Jeez.
I can see the movie of this.
I can see an Adam McKay, like,
yes,
get Christian Bale in there probably,
Yeah, and Alfred Molina is like, 2-digit things as he's playing, like a bartender wiping up.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are here, and yeah, this is our last show of 2018. It's kind of crazy, but I'm glad we're here. We usually do this. We usually have our I was gonna say we have our post Star Wars show, but well, there is no Star Wars.
Yeah.
We live in this right now. This moment, Brian. This is it's like those documentaries, A World Without Us. This is a world without Star Wars.
Yeah, it's so funny when you put it that way, because we would have the one where we review it, and then we'd have another episode where it's like a week later and we're still collecting our thoughts.
Yeah, right. And now we're like, anyways,
yeah.
But what have you seen lately?
I've seen a handful of things. I'll start with one that probably most people haven't seen and probably will not, but I'll just throw it out there because I did. I saw a movie called Vox Lux, which is...
I've got a screener of this sitting downstairs that I'm trying to find the wherewithal to crack open.
It's an interesting movie. I thought the trailer was intriguing, and so there was a screening at the ArcLight where Natalie Portman and director Bradley Corbett were going to be there, so I was like, okay, like let's check this out and see what this is, because it's kind of a unique circumstance. And the IMDb description says, an unusual set of circumstances brings unexpected success to a pop star. So basically, what happens is, yes, there's like a school tragedy at the beginning, and this girl who survives it, her response to this is to write a song, and the song, I wouldn't say goes viral, but it sort of blows up, and then she becomes basically a Lady Gaga-esque / Britney Spears type person. And the first half of the film focuses on this innocent girl sort of being brought into the pop scene, and what that all entails with producers and being told how you're going to dress and whatever. And she's, not sure how she feels about it. And as a viewer, you don't want her to lose herself.
Okay.
And then the second half, it just jumps into the future. And the second half of it is now she's been doing this for, say, 20 some years or something. And the system's kind of chewed her up and spit her out.
Okay.
But on the other hand, she's still wildly popular.
Okay.
So, and that's basically it. And that's why it's a really interesting movie. It's just it's an immersion. Like, see, it's not
Brian, when you describe the premise, I almost wonder if the alternate title is A Schmar is Schmorn. Like, even when you say the director Brady Corbett, doesn't that sound like the Brad and Eliza version of... Right?
That's pretty funny. I think I saw this compared quite a bit with that because it came out so close to it. I mean, they could not be further from each other.
Okay.
This is like a total...
Is it like what I say before, like the film school exercise where, like, here's the premise, go make something, and then you have these two wildly different things come out?
Wow. Well, when you put it that way, it might even raise it in my estimation a little bit. Huh. It's an interesting movie. We all walked out, the people I saw it with, we all walked out saying, like, we liked it. And we did like it. But it's a difficult movie to recommend because I think it's not a traditional narrative. It really is like an immersion into just something this woman is going through. And there's one scene when she's an adult and she's having breakfast with her daughter, and she's just talking for a very long time. And I started wondering, what is this scene about? And then I realized it was just spending time. You're realizing how crazy she is to the daughter, like her the daughter's point of view. So it's one of those things where you're just spending these scenes and you're like, why does this scene exist? And you're like, well, it's because I'm existing these people's lives for a while.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I became pretty absorbed with it. And then you just spend a moment where she does an interview. Basically, another tragedy happens in the world. And so people always want to ask her how she feels about it because she was sort of born from that, her career. And just seeing how she handles that. And then later there's a scene where she's sort of losing it in an elevator, like due to drugs and whatever. And the camera is just right up in her face. And it just really makes you appreciate Natalie Portman. Sure. So it's like a performance movie. And like I said, just kind of, if you are interested in something that's a little off the beaten path and just getting immersed in a world for a little bit, I think it's kind of interesting, maybe when it's streaming.
Yeah.
But
it seems like it would be a good movie to check out on, like, Netflix.
Yeah. So I kind of enjoyed it, but I see once the reviews came out, most people did not.
Really?
So,
okay.
And I listened to another podcast where they hated it, and I was like, well, I get it. It's kind of a polarizing movie, and as a little warning too, I guess the opening tragedy is pretty brutal.
Okay.
And the other people that I was listening to thought the movie didn't earn that, like the movie didn't live up to or warrant having that. Like if it had warranted being so brutal and led to whatever it led to, and I mentioned that to my brother, and he's like, yeah, but at the same time, like I still didn't mind going on the journey. So I don't know. It's an interesting character piece. And then what is he? Oh, Stan and Ollie. Have you seen Stan and Ollie?
This is another one. I've got the screener sitting downstairs. This one I'm really looking forward to watching. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, it's been so low key. I feel like we saw some picture come out a while back where it was Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly playing Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel, and this is a really sweet movie. When it started, I was a little worried because it was very, very not slow, but it was very light.
Okay.
Like the plot was very light, and I wasn't exactly sure where this was going or why we were doing it. But I'm very glad I stuck around because it's just a really sweet movie.
Is it sad?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, there's a bit of melancholy, I guess, throughout, but because this is about them about 15, 16 years after their height,
Okay.
right? Their heyday. So now they're trying to get another movie funded, and so they go on this live tour.
Okay.
And they're worried that people aren't going to show up. And there's a couple scenes where they check into hotels and they sort of expect people, not in an arrogant way, but they just sort of expect people to know who they are, and they don't. So there's a little bit of melancholy with those sorts of things. But ultimately, what I walked away from was it was a really nice movie about friendship between people who are creative collaborators.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the performances are really great. And to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Laurel and Hardy movies. And
Really?
it made me want to check them out just because they seemed like such a delightful duo, which I know is going to sound really like, well, duh, to a lot of people. But
These guys are funny. Have you heard of these guys? Yeah.
well, and just seeing too that they have their riffs and they have their moments, but at the same time, they seemed ultimately like they truly admired one another and really cared about one another. And there's
now, Brian, what I've read, I'm curious if the film gets into this. What I've read is that Stan was kind of like the brains behind the operation.
the movie does that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
posits that as well. But again, in a way that Hardy, like he's like, yeah, that's how it works. Like you kind of write this stuff, and I think it's funny, and we do it together. So it's very light and very gentle, but it's a sweet, easy 90 minutes.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching it. It's funny. Yeah. I grew up watching Laurel and Hardy. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, they used to show them all the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I grew up watching them, but there have been many dramas about comedy teams, and they tend to be very depressing.
Yeah, and they're all cheating on their wives and hate each other.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, there was a movie called Bud and Lou, and it starred Harvey Korman as Bud Abbott and oh shoot, what's his name? The guy with like the baby voice. What was his name?
The guy with the baby voice.
Oh my god, this is gonna bug me. What's his name? He passed away recently. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, that's interesting. Not Tiny Tim.
No, it's hold on. This is a TV movie. Oh, Buddy Hackett, that's his name. Buddy Hackett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and again, it was super depressing. Like Lou dies of a heart attack, and this is terrible. And it was a good movie, but it was depressing.
Yeah.
And then
this is the anti that.
Okay, because there was also the Three Stooges movie. Did you see that? That was a TV movie.
Yeah, I think I did see that.
Yeah, that had Michael Chiklis as Curly.
Yeah.
And again, like super depressing. You see like Curly has a stroke, and it's like, ugh, geez,
Yeah, but speaking of, that's funny when you say that you saw Laurel and Hardy on TV. I never did. Like I remember growing up with a lot of Three Stooges and the Little Rascals.
Oh, sure, I remember the Little Rascals. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder just I don't know if it's different regions, just the different.
Remember the Rascals shorts with Mo Sizlak as Stinky?
Yeah. What was it? He loses his marble in the exhaust pipe.
You killed the original alfalfa. Okay, so Stan and Ollie. Oh, and John C. Reilly. My gosh, it's like a transformative performance for him.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking
National
of
treasure.
oh yeah.
John C. Reilly. He's a goddamn treasure.
Oh yeah. He's great, and it's weird because he is so specific.
Sure.
His voice and whatnot, but he does do very various things. It's yeah. Okay.
And speaking of transformative performances, Brian.
Yep. Well, I saw Vice.
Me too.
Actually, hey, there we go. I was gonna say I saw Vice actually for a second time. I wasn't really couldn't talk about it a while back. I saw it as a preview screening.
So you went to the theater to rewatch it.
I saw a screener this time.
Okay.
Just to be upfront, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was kind of interesting seeing it a second time and watching it with different people.
So you had liked it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your opinion the second time?
I still liked it, but I think I found it a little more jarring this time.
Interesting.
It was weird.
Brian, I mean, were the two versions you saw different?
There was only one or two things I thought were slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it was pretty much the same. But yeah, I found it oddly like disjointed.
Interesting.
More so the second time, but I still found it to be an interesting, worthwhile movie.
Sure.
I don't know. What did you think of it?
Well, okay, so just being out front, I mean, I think this will probably end up on my list for the year.
Yeah.
I think it is such a fascinating. It's almost audacious, not merely in its approach, but its subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Dick Cheney is one of the most vile people to have ever existed in this country's history.
Mm-hmm.
And to then sort of be forced to spend 2 hours with him, not in a movie that's it's not meant to be a hagiography, but it's also not meant to be like, let's just shit on him for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so I think what's interesting to me is that Adam McKay's politics are pretty apparent from watching the film.
Right.
But he does an interesting job of making Cheney not sympathetic, but a person.
Yeah, he has moments where he surprises you.
Yes.
Yeah. So which then make you go, oh, like they remind you. I mean, it's easy. You want to say like, well, he's not even a human being. It's like, well, of course he's a human being. You know what I mean? Like, so you have these moments that remind you of that, but then he'll go ahead and continue to do things where you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, well, and along with that, something that I think worked well for the movie, but also might have harmed it a little bit for me was the style. Adam McKay,
the Big Short of the whole thing, if you will.
I was going to say he employs like the sort of Big Short. I don't even know what you'd call it, but you have random celebrities appearing and talking to camera to explain things, and sometimes the characters break the fourth wall humorously. And I think it makes the material like more digestible in some ways. But then on the other hand, sometimes like Cheney and his cronies are reduced to like cackling Dr. Evil types, which is clearly McKay's point of view, and that may even be somewhat correct. But then it also sort of distances me from the truth of what's happening a little bit.
Interesting.
Because then it starts to become just sort of like a comedy. And I feel like what I liked about the movie was, I mean, I lived through this period, but there's still a lot to be sort of gleaned with hindsight and facts that are presented.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it can get kind of silly. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. Like, I don't know if I wanted a movie that was just more straightforward and so I could trust it more. Or if I wanted like a guy at a party telling me his opinion and adding in humor to keep my attention.
Which is what you got.
Which is what I got. And when I walked out, I ultimately fall on the side of liking this movie.
Yeah.
I just wonder, I think I was more on board for it the first time, and the second time it felt more glaring to me. And I wonder if this is a style he can continue to employ, or if this is something he needs to move forward from.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think the conversation that I had, we had our San Francisco critics voting a couple weeks ago, and the final, ultimately for Best Actor, it was down to Christian Bale in this film and Ethan Hawke for First Reformed. We ended up giving it to Ethan Hawke, but my vote was for Christian Bale, and the critique of his performance was that it was more of a caricature than an actual performance, and I disagreed with that, because to me, I
disagree with that too.
I just forgot I was watching Christian Bale,
Yep.
And so that was an interesting sort of back and forth, and I think if there is a barrier to entry for some, it's going to be, why would I possibly want to spend 2 hours with this vile person?
Right.
And I think that's a valid concern. I think the movie does some interesting stuff, though, which makes it absolutely worth watching. And some of the stuff that McKay does to break the fourth wall are, without him coming out and saying it, are themselves a judgment on the person.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a very funny bit, maybe halfway through the movie, where credits start to roll.
Yes.
And I was like, that's basically McKay, letting us know what he thinks of this person.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I enjoyed that moment. I thought that was funny.
Very funny, yeah. And if there was one performance that maybe took me out of it a little bit, to be honest, it was Steve Carell as Don Rumsfeld.
Yes, the people I was with said the same thing.
Did they really? Okay, and I think
Yeah.
it's I think part of it, and this is not because Steve Carell cannot get lost in roles, but I don't know, for this, it didn't feel like a good match.
Yeah. He didn't. It seemed to bother me less than most people, but I completely understand because I mean you don't lose. I lost Christian Bale in this movie and just was watching Chaney.
Yes,
but that doesn't happen with
like Carell in The Big Short. He got he was great in that movie, and he's fine in this. This is not. I'm not saying he did a bad job, but I didn't see Don Rumsfeld. I saw Steve Carell doing Don Rumsfeld, and to me that edges close to like Saturday Night Live territory.
Yeah, and same with Bush a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned this to me earlier. Yeah,
I obviously I know he's a guy that's easy to sort of turn into a buffoon, and I feel like there's a line depending on what your movie is. Mm-hmm. Like when Will Ferrell does him, like we want him to be like literally a clown.
Sure. And
there were some things like in this movie. There's a part where he's eating chicken, and chicken's falling out of his mouth, and then the camera freeze frames on it. And I was just like, well, what is this movie? Like, what are we choosing this movie to be?
That's interesting.
Like you can still have him, be portrayed in a certain light without like sort of like cheap tricks like that.
Yeah.
Because then it starts to feel a little SNL for me.
Right.
And also I wondered if both times I saw it, it's the motivations of Dick Cheney are a little mysterious. And I think at the movie they set it up a little bit where they're saying, he's a very mysterious guy and there's a lot about him we don't know. We tried our best, And I just wish we had gotten a little bit more into his head. Both times, actually, that was a huge note when we saw it as a preview screening from everybody in the group we were in. And then when we were walking out of this, that came up unprompted from the people I saw it with. So I was like, yeah, it still feels like that's a little missing from this.
Interesting.
Yeah. But again, maybe they don't know. They can only posit. So
yeah, and certainly the fact that Dick Cheney has receded into his cave of darkness, wherever the hell he is right now. I mean, it's it allows. I mean, it's this has been my experience talking to students. They already have forgotten who Dick Cheney is. Yeah. That's interesting, and also it does go along with what I was saying earlier, where I am enjoying seeing history I lived through re-examined. That's
true.
And
so it's you're seeing things you remember, but you're also seeing things that you weren't privy to, or things we've come to light since, and so it's kind of fascinating. So, I think this movie, for the most part, like I liked it more than the things that distracted me, for sure.
And I think it is absolutely worth watching and having conversations about.
Yeah. Yeah. And Adam McKay, I mean, I do feel like he's going to eventually have to graduate from this style a little bit or push it forward a little more.
Yeah.
Each time. But he's a very exciting filmmaker.
I absolutely agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of historical moments that are being re-examined, I also saw the Green Book.
Yeah, so did I.
Just Green Book, not the Green Book. And this is an I just saw this 2 days ago. I had a screener sitting there, and I've been waiting for the time to watch it, and so I finally got to it. This is an interesting one. I'm very curious what you thought of this.
Yeah, well, Green Book's interesting. It's like you almost feel like you have to like throw up some caveats at the beginning. In that this is a movie that has, since it's been released, come under a bit of scrutiny.
Yes.
Right? And most particularly from, it's a true story, based on a true story about Tony Lip, who was a guy who served as Dr. Don Shirley's driver in a momentous tour back in the early 60s. And Don Shirley's family has since come out and said that they basically hate this movie.
Yes.
Right? And so, I don't know. It's like kind of become this weird he said, she said sort of thing, because the one of the co-writers of the movie is Tony Lip's son.
Right.
And he says, that all this stuff is corroborated between his dad, and apparently he knew Don Shirley as well. And it just sort of muddies muddies everything. Where I feel like, well, then I don't know who to believe, and that makes me uncomfortable. To be honest, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want anyone being misrepresented, especially because some of the ways that Don Shirley is represented in this movie, not even from his family, but just from audiences, are, you know, have made people uncomfortable or they find it problematic. So it's just become kind of a weird movie to look at. But I can say before, just real quick, and I want to hear what you thought, but before I heard all this stuff and I just watched it straightforward as a movie, I thought it was nice. You know, it kind of feels like a Disney movie. In that, and I read somewhere, and I think this is totally true, like it feels a little bit almost like a throwback to like a movie would have seen in the late 80s, 90s, just about like, you know, he's black and he's white and they don't understand each other, but by the end they will. And there's something
when you hear
simple.
the premise, you know how it'll end.
Yeah, and there's something, I always enjoy seeing movies about people who don't understand each other by the end understanding each other. There's something just encouraging and nice about that. So, you know, I watched it actually while I was really sick as a screener, and I was like, that's nice when it was over. But yeah, but all this stuff that's come out afterwards has definitely sort of marred it a little bit in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know. How about you?
You know, it's interesting. I think that I did like it, and I would recommend it, but not to everybody. If that makes sense. I had sort of the same reaction as you, where the movie ended, and to a large extent, I ignored a lot of the conversation about it until after I watched it. And then after I watched it, I kind of dove in and saw what people were saying. It as a film, just separate from the history and all that stuff, as a film, as a two-hander, it's very good.
Yes. Performances are great.
Fantastic. You know, just watching Viggo Mortensen, you talk about another transformative performance. You forget you're watching Aragorn.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And Marshall Ali, great in it, great in everything. You know, what I looked at, you know, 'cause I'm not white, I'm not black. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of white audiences. I'm looking at it from the perspective of black audiences. Because I have black friends whose opinions, who are film critics, whose opinions I respect, who passionately disliked this movie.
Right.
And so I'm looking at it from their perspective. And I get that. But I also have white friends who really like this movie. And I get that too.
Right.
So this is a weird thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if there is a critique to be, I mean, there are a few critiques. I think a major critique is that and this is going to sound weird, but bear with me on this. It depicts racism for white people. And what I mean by that is it shows racism, but like not extreme racism.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in other words, the racism that Dr. Shirley encounters on this road trip is like, no, he's not allowed to try on that suit, and no, he can't eat in this restaurant. And that's terrible, don't get me wrong, right?
Yeah.
But like racism is more than that. You know what I mean? There was physical violence that was visited on people. There was like it was not merely insult to your dignity. It was insult. It was danger to your life.
Right.
And this movie sort of skirts around that stuff. And that's what I mean by like it's got to show racism, but it can't be too horrible because people won't want to watch it then.
Yeah.
Like how many people, I'm not going to say white people, how many people watched 12 Years a Slave?
Right.
Did you see 12 Years a Slave?
I did.
Okay, you're one of the few.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? You hear the premise, you're like, I get it. I don't think I need to watch that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what this movie is. So I think almost you need to know that going in. And so you can see why black audiences, many black audiences, not all, are somewhat turned off by that because it's skirting past the real uncomfortable aspect of what it was like to be black in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes this real life person, Dr. Shirley, who has agency and a story of his own, and it makes him a vehicle for this white guy to get past his racism.
Right.
Which is fine. That's that story. But, you know, it kind of reminds me of a couple of years ago when we talked about that Tarzan movie with Sam Jackson.
Yes.
Where it's like this guy, like he's a real life guy, and he did this, and he was a doctor, and he invented this, and he opened diplomatic this. That's great. Let's make him a supporting character in our Tarzan movie, you know?
Right, which is so weird to me.
Right? It feels a little like that. And so, you know, there's this trope, the magical Negro.
Yes.
Which, without getting it in too much, it's the idea of like the talented brown person whose job really is to sort of be the spirit guide for this white person to get over their prejudices. And I feel like at times Dr. Shirley in this film becomes a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But see, again, all of this is coming from a place of critique. But at the end of the film, I think it accomplishes what it set out to do. And I think, like, it's a film that's about overcoming prejudices, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think people should watch it.
Zachy, you are exactly mirroring how I feel about this movie. You're saying it so well. I'm like just sitting back, nodding my head. It's tricky and weird, but yeah, it's hard to be not admire a movie that at least is putting something positive out into the world, you know? But yeah, you almost just wish, and it's sadly Don Shirley's passed away, but you almost wish he was around to be like, no, yeah, it's cool. Like, yeah, this is pretty close to how it happened. And you're like, well, okay. But he isn't.
Tony Villolonga's son, Nick, wrote the script, and according to Nick, he's saying they had approached Don Shirley like 20 years ago, and he said, make whatever movie you want, just wait till I'm gone.
Oh, okay, I didn't see
Supposedly. That's according to the son who co-wrote the script.
Sure.
And the son has said it's because, and the film alludes to this, but it doesn't get into it too much, but Don Shirley was gay, and he was closeted, and so he didn't want this stuff coming out while he was alive. Supposedly. Who knows, you know?
Right.
The family has their own issues, and this is, to some extent, it's unknowable, right? You know, we don't know who's saying the truth. So all we can look at is the intentions. We can assume there were good intentions involved in the film, and I think the message, the end message of the film is a positive one. I mean, without spoiling anything, I mean, you know, it's like Lethal Weapon. You know, it ends at a place where, you know, Riggs and Murtaugh are friends.
Yes.
And you say, oh, that's nice, you know?
Yeah.
And
you know, another positive is I had never heard of Dr. Don Shirley before.
Yeah, sure, me either.
And during the course of the film, you hear a lot of his music, and it made me go look him up. And he does a cover of Blue Skies.
Wow.
And I've literally listened to it at least 10 times since I watched the movie.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was really happy to discover him. And I would even recommend people look that up. I've every now and then I'll find a song and I hear it and I just can't stop listening to it. And Blue Skies by his interpretation, Don Shirley's, was really incredible to me. So
nice.
It was kind of nice for me to even know this guy, learn about this guy.
Did you know Tony Lip was an actor?
I read that.
He was on The Sopranos. Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me. He just seems like one of those guys that like showed up on set and was like, yeah, put me in your show. And then he's one of those guys that they would be like, okay.
Yeah. And again, worth reiterating, Viggo Mortensen is tremendous in this. He's so good.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him play a type like this, but he does it so convincingly.
He just becomes this sort of Italian cliche.
Yeah.
You know, and not to diminish the performance, but I mean, he just disappears into this character. It's very funny, you know?
Yeah. And there's this scene where he shoplifts and, you know, Don Shirley's basically chastising him. And it's just so interesting seeing a grown man get treated sort of like a kid. And just, I don't know, there was something about that scene I found really interesting and uncomfortable, but funny and sort of relatable, even like a kind of a shame emotion that you don't want to admit because you're grown up.
Yeah.
And I just thought he played that really well.
Well, and when you factor in the socio-political aspect at the time where it's a person of color chastising a white man.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of layers to the story that absolutely make it worth watching. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Hopefully it sparks conversations like this, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. There was a little mini controversy because Viggo Mortensen was at some event for this film, and in talking about the area that it depicts, he used the N-word.
Yes, I did see that. And
then that caused this mini controversy. And it's that, you know, a video went viral a couple days ago. I don't know if you saw this. This is from a while ago from HBO, where you had Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, Ricky Gervais, and Louis C.K. talking about comedy, and Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais use the N-word,
Right.
and Chris Rock is kind of laughing, and Jerry Seinfeld is like, no, I don't use that word. I don't find it funny, whatever. And then for some reason, this aired a while ago, but it just went viral. And I thought we're having this weird moment where suddenly, again, people are reckoning with the use of the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
I posted that clip on Twitter. I tweeted it. And I was just like this. I was like cringing watching it. And then there was sort of like a back and forth with people who were like, well, they weren't using it in a. First of all, now Louis C.K. like anything he does is tainted,
Yeah,
I was thinking about that
There's
too.
a new lens. Yeah.
There's a new. I was like, if this was before, would I have defended Louis C.K.? I don't know. But the thought I had was I was cringing while watching it. So why didn't they? Like, how did it come so easily for them?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the context in which Viggo Mortensen said it, it seemed like just kind of the same thing. Like he said it too easily without realizing how it would be perceived. And that's that question of like, should we? How do we work around that word? It's funny that conversation needs to be happening again and again.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it just feels like it should be obvious. Like, well, just don't say it.
Yeah,
But. Yeah, like you say, that it just keeps coming back. I don't know. I mean, Viggo's an older guy, so maybe he feels like he's saying something in a historical context and isn't as well plugged into the just don't do it.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't like, and then I made this movie and I loved saying it, so I kept saying it. It wasn't that. It was one hopes,
Yeah.
I mean, he was making a broader point, but I think that itself is so fascinating that. If the majority of people in the black community would just reflexively kind of wince at the use of that word,
mm-hmm.
and so it's interesting. Like to me, I'm like you, where it's like, well, just don't say it. You're gonna hurt people's feelings. You're at the least you're gonna hurt people's feelings. At the worst, you're gonna actively offend them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when you have comedians just throwing it around, this and that, like it's like that realization hasn't penetrated. Like it doesn't matter how you're intending to use it.
Right.
Just don't use it.
Yeah.
And then there's that added element of like there's Chris Rock in the room. Like what's he laughing about? Like
Yeah, I haven't seen the video. I read about it, so
it's very weird. I mean, again, that was from like 7-8 years ago.
Right.
But definitely, I don't know. We're taking a turn this discussion. I apologize.
Well, that's where the movie took us.
That's where the movie took us.
It's a discussion.
This is one other thought about Green Book. The title, Green Book. I found that almost is like the wrong title for this movie. Because
yeah.
So the Green Book in question, the titular book, is a book that was written to allow basically for black people traveling through the South. It was a list of like places that it's okay to go,
right? Like hotels or
restaurants and things like that. Yeah. And so and near the beginning of the film, Tony Lip is given the Green Book by the organizers of the tour, and basically he uses it like once.
Yeah, it doesn't really factor into the...
It doesn't factor in at all. And so the movie ends, and I'm like, well, why'd you call it that? Like, call it something else. Because to me, I find the existence of that book kind of fascinating.
Agreed. I almost wish it had been a bigger part of the movie.
Right? Like, if you use that book as the through line for this other story, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, for decision-making and choices...
Yeah,
the journey. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like having to consult the book and things like that. So that's not like this movie sucks, but
no.
It's a weird choice to me that you would call the movie that, but the book itself is virtually inconsequential in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Oh, also interesting, by the way, as long as we're talking about it, directed by Peter Farrelly.
Yes.
Which when I was watching it, it felt like one of those Oscar movies where it doesn't have. It's just a very competently well shot movie without having a ton of flavor to it. But I was like, wow, whoever directed this is confident. I remember thinking that in the middle of the movie. and wondering who did it. And then I was, to my surprise, it was one of the Farrelly brothers.
Is this
of Dumb and Dumber fame?
and I feel this is not his first dramatic movie.
Let me look.
It feels like
Who are the other guys? The guys that did Airplane, and then he did Ghost.
the Zuckers.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Those guys, these outright comedy directors doing these dramas.
I feel like
Yeah, I'm looking here. Dumb and Dumber 2.
it's a switch from that. I guess it kind of
Heartbreak.
is. I mean, not really.
Excuse me.
Maybe Bobby Farrelly. I feel like one of them has done something dramatic before this.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm going to find out, Brian. I need to know this.
I'm going to find out.
No, not really. Yeah, wow. Huh.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought it was
Fever
well-directed.
Pitch, which isn't a drama, but I never laughed. So
Yeah, I didn't hear anyone laughing. Did you?
Oh, actually, while we're talking about sort of these Oscar bait type movies, I thought this was worth mentioning. Welcome to Marwin,
Oh, yeah.
this Steve Carell movie, which I have not watched, so just to couch what I'm about to say, but it's like the biggest flop of Robert Zemeckis' career.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's no secret that I am a huge Robert Zemeckis fan. Well, both of us are here, but
Yeah.
Even when I saw the trailers, I was like, ooh. Like, I don't know what this is.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. Yeah. It's another documentary Robert Zemeckis saw and was like, I'm going to make that into a narrative movie.
Yeah, and from my understanding is then he got kind of caught up in the special effects of it all and loses track of the
Which sounds like a very
going on.
Robert Zemeckis thing to do.
Yeah. It's a friend of mine who knows me quite well said, I have a feeling you're going to watch that movie in a couple months and go, I know what they were trying to do. And I was like, you know me well, my friend. But
I saw a headline that just said, why can't Forrest Gump director Robert Zemeckis make a hit anymore? And I just said,
yeah, it's a good question. It
like,
really is. It's a bummer for sure. But I mean, we know obviously he's got the chops, but I don't. Is it because of bad scripts, or is it just because he's lost the heart of the stories he's telling? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
getting caught up in the technology.
Because before Marwin there was the Allied.
Yeah, which was fine,
but that wasn't a hit.
No.
And before that there was the Walk.
Yeah, again, which the ending was spectacular, but I didn't care about any of the rest.
And then before that, was it Flight? Before that,
Flight.
Yeah.
Flight was one of those ones where I think I did like it for the most part, but it also did feel like tonally weird.
Yes.
Like some of it was deadly serious, and then other parts of it were sort of silly, and it just felt really incongruous.
And plus, it's not a movie that you're in a hurry to revisit.
No.
You're not like, hey, kids are home from school. Let's put Flight on. Come on, Agnes, get Jimmy and Spencer, and let's watch Denzel battle his demons in a bottle.
Yeah. Oh, kids, you thought he wasn't going to go for the liquor fridge in the hotel, but he did. Oh. We'll open presents 30 minutes. Yeah.
So that's a shame. I know that was briefly, and by briefly I mean extremely briefly, thought of as one of these Oscar bait type movies, but critics were brutal.
Yeah.
And then it went downhill from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Bummer. And Steve Carell too, who we like.
Steve Carell, yeah. So he's had a very varied year because he was also in Beautiful Boy, which I didn't mind.
I didn't see that.
It was okay. He was certainly good in it, but yeah, he's run the gamut in the last 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, why don't we take a little break and then we'll come back and talk about some headlines and maybe even do some listener letters.
Sounds good.
And we're back, and before we get to headlines, I just wanted to share a couple listener notes that we got. This one is from Jeff Jordan, who Jeff Jordan just got around to watching Black Panther. So
cool.
He got there eventually. The rest of the world watched it, in like February.
Well, he still made it in under a year.
And under a year still counts. Still counts. He raised an interesting point. He says, I found it to be a very entertaining film, but was surprised at how utterly disposable Andy Serkis's character was in that film. I had the same reaction to Serkis's character's death that I did with Max von Sydow's death in The Force Awakens. It just felt like a waste of their respective talents. And now, because Andy Serkis is mocap CGI guy, it seems likely that he could reassert himself in the MCU. So his question is to you and me, Brian. He says, which Marvel characters do you feel would be best suited for Mr. Serkis's talents? Now, I'm assuming, Brian, since you don't have a deep dive knowledge of the Marvel universe, that you're kind of going to do the shrug emoji right now.
I was going to say, if I had heard this question before the podcast, I would have done a deep dive on Wikipedia and tried to come up with a surprisingly articulate answer, but no, I don't. Galacticus? I don't know.
Here's my theory on this: is I don't think Andy Serkis is done playing Ulysses Klaue, because if you followed the comics, you know that the character of Klaue, he eventually he does die. His physical body dies, but he comes back as a being composed of solid sound.
Interesting.
Right. And I think the fact that his body is in Wakanda somewhere, just surrounded by vibranium, and he's got the vibranium arm thing. I think there's a case to be made that he could reassert himself as being that version of Klaue from the comic.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that's my bet. I'm not writing off Andy as Klaue just yet. Klaue, master of sound. That's the. I don't know why I know that, but
yeah, it seems like every now and then he will play a smaller role, but it's because he's doing a mocap character. And
yes,
you think of King Kong or something, right, where he plays one of the sort of grunts.
Yes, that's right.
But his big role is obviously King Kong
as Kong. Yeah. Did you ever watch Mowgli, by the way, the Netflix thing?
Nah. I don't know. I just don't. It's not top of my list right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing that the reaction has been very, very interesting. People either really like it or just kind of whatever. I mean, I don't think anybody hates it, but
yeah, I think if there were less things for me to catch up on,
yeah,
I could,
specifically on Netflix, because
yeah. So,
and this is so Jeff. Hopefully that answered that question. This is from Jeremy Lloyd, who listened to our Home Alone commentary, and he posted this on our Movie Film Podcast Facebook page. He said that listening to the Home Alone commentary and had a moment where I was answering a question you had while I was listening. Old Man Marley is played by Roberts Blossom. Also played another iconic role in John Carpenter's Christine as Mr. LeBay, the owner of Christine that Arnie buys her off of. There you go. I'm fascinated by the fact that his name is Roberts Blossom.
Yeah, it feels like something out of a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel
Roberts
like Jeremy's
Blossom
Iron.
lived on Cherry Lane. Yeah.
Jeremy's Iron.
Jeremy's, yeah.
It feels like
so
that.
it should be Robert Blossoms. Yeah.
Good, Brian. Do an anagram from it. Yeah.
Right.
Also, this is from Tom McClellan on Twitter. He said that he appreciated listening to our commentary and hearing my ever escalating anger over the sequel.
Yeah, I did pick up on that.
Which is funny to me because I got a lot of comments from people who were like, "Really? I love part 2." And I just this might be my blind spot, Brian. I just assumed that no, people don't like the second one.
Yeah, no, I
stand corrected.
know this because I got into a Facebook conversation with a friend a couple years ago who likes the second one better.
Really?
Yeah,
well, that's
and
just objective.
I was
wrong.
like, I'm the type. I'm like, hey man, like what you like, but there's just no way that's true. And so then we each defended our films and shook hands and left it at
that. That's doubly paradoxical to me. I don't even understand that.
Yeah,
I can see liking the second one.
Yeah,
but come on, better than the first one?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, it's funny because during the commentary, you said something about how you didn't like the second one. I was like, oh yeah, because I'm just indifferent. If it's on, I might stop on it, but it's not my favorite.
Right.
And then by the end, you were just like, Home Alone 2, which is a commentary we will never do. The escalation was cracking me up.
Well, there you go. So it has its fans. I'll say this. You know what? I'll go along with people who have nostalgia for the second one because it is a continuation. Fair enough. If you come at me with Macaulay Culkin's fine, but he's no Alex D. Linz from Home Alone 3. At that point, right. I block and defriend your ass pretty fast.
Which, by the way, did you know that was written by John Hughes as well?
Really?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I looked it up. I was doing an IMDb deep dive on Home Alone. Pretty. Wait. Also, same DP, I believe, as the first film.
I refuse to believe you. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, but he kind of had a weird, funky period.
Well, I'll be damned. He did right.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's like based on concept
characters.
Created by.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a thing that happened, Brian.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the fourth one, because in the third one, it's not Kevin. It's like a different character.
Yeah.
And then in the fourth one, they recast Kevin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like Kevin's parents are divorced, and I'm like, I don't want to know that the McAllisters are divorced. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so there's our Home Alone corner.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on that. Moving on, we got some headlines, and this is worth mention, Brian. It is that we are now heading into the second weekend for Aquaman. We are recording this episode on December 29th, the morning of, and based on Friday to Friday box office, Aquaman has dropped 47%.
That's really
from one Friday
impressive.
To the next.
Yeah.
Which is, just for perspective, that's the lowest drop for a superhero movie from one weekend to the next since, get this, Batman Begins.
Wow. That's kind of amazing for Batman Begins, too.
It is.
Now I think about it.
and Batman Begins, by the way, opened, it didn't have a spectacular opening. It did okay.
Mm-hmm. That must have been like a word of mouth thing.
Yeah, so exactly. So what that tells me is that word of mouth for this one is quite strong.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting tracking it because, I was sort of like, yeah, it's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you liked it more than I did. And I've kind of enjoyed seeing people on both sides of the spectrum because I don't think anyone's wrong. It's just sort of, what you want.
Yeah.
And if it, looks like a thing you want, you're probably going to like it. And I'm glad people are enjoying it. But it's been funny seeing on Instagram and whatever, people falling on both sides. So It's just like, it's just one of those movies. But like people who are enjoying it are really enjoying it.
Yeah, and the online conversation, it's funny because when you look at Twitter, like one thing I've realized, especially the older I've gotten, is that you don't need to engage in every argument on Twitter.
Sure.
Like it's okay to be like, well, you're saying something crazy, I'm just going to keep walking. To me, it's like if you're walking down the street and somebody's like, hey, have you accepted Lord Zemulak as your savior?
Zemulak, yeah.
And you're like, well, no, I'm just going to keep walking, right? But it's this weird thing about Twitter where people feel the need to be like, there is no Zemulak, actually. It's like, well, I don't need to. Why do I need to do this, right?
Yeah.
But sort of the conversation surrounding this film where, many fans of the DC universe are feeling, rightly happy at the film's success, but it's a lot of like, all you people who said it's going to be terrible are all wrong. And I'm like, why do this? Like,
just say yay.
Yeah, why not take the win and be happy? Like, it's weird,
Yeah.
And it's very funny because like, just yesterday, and I think inadvertently I instigated this. Like somebody on my Twitter posted a thing about why they like Man of Steel, and they posted a thing where, they're like, I like how Man of Steel humanizes Superman, and it makes him having to deal with this burden that he carries and whatever. And I was like, I agree with that, and I retweeted that. And I'm followed on Twitter by a writer and producer of various programs whose work I enjoy, and so he saw that and kind of responded. He was not a fan of Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And so he saw that and responded. And then shortly thereafter, he tweeted a thing where he's like, I'm a nice guy, but if you're gonna show up in my feed with like stuff defending Man of Steel, man, I'm gonna like come after you, whatever. And I saw that tweet, and I got the way he was saying it, just kind of jokingly, but literally I'm like, ugh, and I did like the cross sign, like,
Yeah.
this poor bastard,
Right.
and like
right.
just out of curiosity, I checked that tweet like maybe 6 hours later, and it's just like it's like a swarm of locusts.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's fascinating to me on two levels because number one, his tweet, I'm like, man, why even say that? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's number one. But number two, people just be showing up,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why not just keep walking? He likes Zemulak, whatever. So it takes two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. I'm like, this conversation just will not end.
I can't tell if it's like this or not, but I see this meme recently where they're sort of joking about, people put like LOL and all these crazy sort of things that they're cracking up, but really what they're doing is just sort of sniffing out their nose a little louder.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not really laughing as they're expressing. And I wonder too if these people are like, you read it like, you're crazy, how could you say this? And they're just like sitting there with their head half cocked, like leaned up against a pillow, like, you're crazy. Like, I wonder if it's really like a guy from that World of Warcraft South Park episode.
No, right. You know what's funny is for the past year and change, I have, like on my social media, I have defended The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I will defend that movie because I like it. But I don't care what other people have to say about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go seek out conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really care.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, am I abnormal for just being like, you, whatever, say, I don't care if you dislike or like a movie that I like.
No.
Right?
You are not. That is normal.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what has happened here where it's become this thing, where, because it's unnerving.
Yeah. I don't know. Everybody needs to respond to something.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody, but it seems to be that is a lot of too many people's MO these days.
Yeah.
The need to quickly and sharply respond to anything.
And I will say this. One thing I have learned is that just in terms of how I phrase my thoughts on social, I try to be a lot more. I try to step a lot more gingerly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember back when Batman vs Superman came out, I said stuff about that film that was coarser than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I regret that now. But it exists. It's out there. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Not in terms of like what I said in my review or even what we said in our discussion, but like, because I'm dealing with this now where like people, this is messed up, Brian. People have gone back into my Twitter archives and screen grabbed stuff that I said like 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm not alone in this, by the way. Our friend Paul Shirey dealt with something similar, not about BVS, but like random stuff. People do this. It's kind of effed up.
Yeah, they should be playing Spider-Man on PlayStation or
Right,
reading a book or something.
It's
so much more they could be doing.
Twitter diving. People Twitter dive.
Yeah.
So very interesting. But I am, you know me, I am ecstatic that this movie's doing well because it's friggin' Aquaman and ain't gonna be a joke no more when people be like, I like Aquaman.
Yeah. I mean, and even me, who is like just fine with it. Like when a sequel comes out, like I like this iteration. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy to, no pun intended, to dive back into that world.
Well, it a couple of things. Number one, it means finally, hopefully, now that the two biggest hits in this universe are Wonder Woman and Aquaman, will finally. People are upset because like they're putting Superman on the back burner, and I am too to some extent. But I'm also like, hey, you know what? We got a whole bunch of other characters we can use.
Yeah.
Let's finally start doing that,
And Wonder Woman's not till 2020 or something, right?
That's correct, yeah.
That's a long time.
It's going to be a wait. I will say this. I went last Saturday with my kids, and I also took my nephew, who is now 19. Kids liked it. Nephew liked it, too. But my nephew pointed out something that now... he's like, I think there's a plot hole, and I'm like, I think it is, too. So I'll say it without giving anything away. There's a scene in the film where Aquaman and Mera, they find this hidden catacomb type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the Sahara. And they're trying to get this little doodad to work, and Aquaman's like, "You brought us here to this place that's been here since before the Sahara was a desert." And she's like, "Oh, the Sahara was a desert," and she like pulls out his moisture and she activates this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they receive a message that sends them to this clue that involves Emperor Romulus of Rome. And so the movie ends, and my nephew, this kid is very smart. He's smarter than me. He's like, if the clue was left like before the Sahara was a desert, that's like long, 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 long ago.
Right.
It's way before Rome like existed.
Right.
And I'm like, I think you're right, but that seems like such an obvious plot hole.
Right.
So I'm not sure, and I feel like that's something egregious. And it's funny because I told my brother this, his dad. I'm like, yeah, he pointed this out, and he's like, oh, God, he just ruins movies, doesn't he?
It's like a regular thing.
I mean, I'm telling him, I'm like, he's so smart. He thought of this. I didn't even notice it. And that's my brother.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway, moving on, Brian. Well, this is interesting.
Side. Yeah.
We got some new Netflix releases I want to talk about, but before we do that, there's an Oscar problem this year.
An Oscar problem? Are you talking about the Sylvester Stallone comedy?
No, I'm talking about
90s?
The Grouch.
I'd say it was a problem.
It was a problem. That movie, I remember when that first came out, Oscar, they're like, this is it, the beginning of Sylvester Stallone's comedy career.
Right.
Having clearly forgotten the genius that is Rhinestone.
Rhinestone,
Hey,
yeah.
Let's have him sing country music with Dolly Parton. No, we're not talking about that Oscar, Brian. We're talking about the Oscars.
Yeah, we're talking about capital O Oscar TM.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So they can't find a host. Brian, they can't find the guy. So this.
Why is that?
Well, this is interesting. So a couple weeks ago, they asked they asked Kevin Hart to host the Oscars.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. He's a beloved national treasure, Kevin Hart. He is beloved, the world over for his comedy stylings that are edgy but not too edgy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it seemed
Movie
like
star, right? Starring with The Rock.
he of Jumanji fame.
Yes.
He of Jumanji and Night School fame.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Twitter diving. He is announced as the host, and then wouldn't you know, people dive into his social media accounts, and what do they find from like 8-9 years ago? Some tweets that were problematic, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And the tweets in question were did you see them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in some article, they might have been paraphrased or something.
So they're referred to as jokes, but I don't even know if this would necessarily count as a joke. But essentially, it's a whole series of clearly homophobic comments. One of them being, this is from 2011. He says, "Yo,
Oh yeah.
if my son comes home and tries to play with my daughter's dollhouse, I'm gonna break it over his head and say in my voice, 'Stop, that's gay.'"
Right.
Which,
Not even exactly a joke.
right. I was about to say. I was like, number one. I was like, is that trying to be funny? Number two, I'm like, you don't have to tweet every thought that you have,
Yeah, that's what that sounds like. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so and there were more of them that were skirt the line, right?
Excuse me.
And so this is the turnaround on this was fascinating because it's like, I don't know the exact days, but it's like Wednesday he's announced, Thursday this breaks, Friday he drops out.
Right.
It might have even been like end of Thursday, so 48 hours.
Right.
So number one, I'm like, how did the Academy people not get in front of this beforehand?
You mean go back into his history a little bit and make sure there weren't these things?
Yeah, vet him. But number two, this is now the second time something like this has happened because there's James Gunn earlier this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question I have, and this goes to kind of what we were just talking about earlier, I didn't plan on that, but is this what we're doing now, where you're going to hang things that people said like 10 years ago offhandedly around somebody's neck and just make that a thing to demolish any of their aspirations moving forward? Like this feels like brand new terrain. This is brand new now.
Yeah, this is a new this is a new thing. And I guess so, And it's one of those things too. I mean, in his case specifically, I think then people were like, look, this is hurtful.
Yeah.
And will you apologize for this?
Yes.
And I think what he did wrong was he not only refused, but he dug in, and he also did it in a very flippant sort of video that he posted, and it just felt really like, just say you're sorry. Like, and I think he may have been sorry or not. We'll not know. But the thing is I think, okay, going back to your digging back for 10 years, I think if we see a change in behavior, if people grow, if we can see people acknowledging their past and saying, well, I don't believe that anymore, and I see things differently now, I think that's what people want to hear. Just
a sincere, even the appearance of sincerity.
The appearance of, yes.
Which sounds contradictory, but...
It does, but I think people would go along with that because we can't obviously know a person's heart necessarily. Yeah. But he just refused to even do that. And I think that's why there was just no give with him.
So the corollary now is that they don't know, they have nobody who wants to host.
Well, yeah, and you can imagine that a lot of people are like, well, what sort of dirt are people going to dig up on me, right?
It's very interesting, the age we're in now with the social media age now, which has really changed how we deal with this type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, we talk about this. I mean, everything's written in concrete now.
Yeah,
with the internet. So
now, speaking of using the internet to, and as far as the Oscar host, I guess that's going to be a developing story. Once they announce, we'll talk about it. Well, and what's funny is neither of us particularly cares, as far as I know.
I know, but it is coming up pretty fast, right? I mean, this is something, they don't just do this over the course of the week, plot this. I mean, this is like months in preparation. So
you know what they need to do is they need to create like the Oscar host AI.
Yeah. Like Simone, remember that movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Just make the perfect host.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of using the internet for, I don't know what this use of the internet for qualifies. Insanity, maybe.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey back in the news because he has in the last couple days he's been accused of sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
Or not even accused, he's been charged. He's been charged with sexual assault.
Right.
And the same day that those charges dropped, he drops this video on Twitter.
Right.
And Brian, I've seen some effed up things.
Yeah.
I have no explanation for this. So this is him in his kitchen, in character as Frank Underwood.
Right.
I guess addressing these charges?
This is truly one of the weirder things I've ever seen.
Yes.
I couldn't believe it as I was watching it. And I think there's something to it also because it was clearly shot on a phone. So even like with a movie, when you have like 24 frames per second or whatever, you sort of, something about it feels otherworldly. But this felt like we were in a kitchen with Kevin Spacey. And it's just very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Just because he just seems, much like we were talking about with Kevin Hart, I mean, he seems very unrepentant of these things.
Yes.
And so then for him to release this video where, he's playing his character Frank Underwood, and it feels almost like he's doubly addressing the storyline of that show, but it is unmistakably also addressing things going on in his life. And they're very arrogant and, again, unrepentant. Yeah. And you're like, what, why are you doing this?
Well, so I watched that video and I'm like, well, this is why stars have publicists, like you realize now.
Yeah.
Number two, Kevin Spacey clearly no longer has a publicist.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because there is no universe where if you have representation that could ever have happened.
Well, you're just like, what? Does he think people are going to be on his side?
Yeah, right?
With this? I think he might even underestimate people just on his side in general. And maybe he thought this would be sort of a clever little thing that people would go, oh, Kevin, like we were very clever. You know, and I don't think he realizes that he's pushed everyone away.
Wow.
And everyone, you know, is like, dude, put the phone down.
Well, it's funny because I never watched House of Cards, so I can't speak to that. But I know just what I have seen anecdotally, and again, this might be the like, accept Lord Zorbulak as your savior people, but like I have seen people online be like, they should have just let him finish the series.
Well, I mean, I'm of two minds of that. Yes, the series would have been better had he been involved, I think. The season 6, I think it was, the final season, was just a total mess. They set themselves up in a way where it could have executed well with Robin Wright's character sort of taking charge. Like, that was true to the story, and that could have been interesting. But the execution was just, I don't know what happened. If it was because it was all hacked together in haste after Spacey was left. And so he is off screen now. He's dead at the very beginning.
Right.
And so it would have been interesting to understand what had happened a little bit more. They sort of tease it the whole season about what happened, and it's just kind of a mess. So I can imagine without all... See, but the thing is, because of the things he's been accused of, and he's proved to be such an unsavory person, then I didn't want to see him, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it's sort of a lose-lose.
It's, I mean, he's, when we did our commentary for Man of Steel, I think it was, or it might have been it was Superman the movie. We talked about, this is in the old days when Kevin Spacey was not, known to be what he is now. And you and I, we were talking about Superman Returns, and we were like, man, it's such a shame that they wasted Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. Like, it's almost worth trying again just because he's so perfect in that role, whatever. And it's like, you're like, but it's doubly funny because he narrated at the time that movie came out, like a Superman documentary, like a feature-length documentary, which, like, the DC Universe app, that documentary was on there, and Warner Brothers like pulled it off of there because it's just, the guy is toxic. It's like he's a goat turd in a glass of milk, you know.
I've never heard that expression before.
You've never heard that?
No, I like it though.
This is I use this in my class all the time, right? It's and this is something my father-in-law said. He said that if you get a goat turd in a glass of milk, you can take out the goat turd, but you can't drink the milk.
That's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's Kevin Spacey is the goat turd.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever seen a goat turd, by the way, it's like a little it's like an M&M sized drop.
Like rabbit poop.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, it's just a little thing. Let's just get it out. It's like, well, the milk is ruined. So that's Kevin Spacey. Good job, Kevin. You are the goat turd.
Yeah.
Goodbye. But yeah, that video has been watched 8 million times.
Wow. I saw it. It popped up on Reddit or something, and I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought it was something that already existed, and someone was like going to twist it in some way. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I watched it in just disbelief.
He didn't need anyone to twist it.
No.
It came pre-twisted.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've been sort of bombarding Netflix lately, or Netflix has been bombarding you lately, I guess.
Yeah, as we were looking for headlines for this week, I just noticed there's a ton of stories for Netflix. I mean, they're having quite a week.
Yeah.
Just off the top, have you watched the film Bird Box?
I haven't, although I've seen sort of the internet conversation surrounding it.
Same here, and I think that's, just briefly, I wanted to bring it up because I found it kind of fascinating. I mean, basically, it's, I'll read the IMDb description. It says, 5 years after an ominous, unseen presence drives most of society to suicide, a mother and her 2 children make a desperate bid to reach safety. So it sort of sounds like a quiet place.
I'll tell you, Brian, sounds like a good family double feature with Flight.
Yeah. No, but it's kind of like a quiet place where instead of you can't make a noise, now you can't see. So there's all these images of Sandra Bullock and her kids with blindfolds wading down a river. And what I find kind of fascinating about this, a friend of mine pointed out that they've just been seeing a lot of coverage of this movie. And he goes, man, the Netflix publicists are working overtime on this. Mm-hmm. And then ever since he said that, I can't get that out of my head. And I've been noticing just on Instagram, like every meme is about Bird Box. And
so you think this is manufactured?
I'm wondering, and that's not to say. I mean, they say 40-some million people watched it in its first week, and that's impressive. But I wonder if they're geniuses, and they've just figured out a way to saturate. And it's such an easy memeable image. You know, I saw a friend of mine actually used the Sandra Bullock with the blindfold, saying "me on an airplane, hoping not to catch a cold," or something. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know if it's true or not. You know, if it really is that good, then great. But I found it kind of fascinating that it worked. I mean, I've heard it come up a lot. My brother, unprompted yesterday, is like, "Have you seen Bird Box?" You know, like, he's just like, people are talking about Bird Box, and I was like, "That's
very interesting." But I can't. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the sheer volume of Netflix original content out there means that they would need to be trying to manufacture virality for every single one. So
which is obviously impossible, and also one of the, not a criticism, but something people are skeptical about it with Netflix, because it's just, they drop so much crap. Not all of it can even be noticed or stick, so why spend the money? Yeah. But it is fascinating that I feel like Bird Box has come up just as much as any other Aquaman or whatever else from this past week, and that is pretty darn impressive for something that just got dropped into our homes. Like, I never even saw a trailer for this thing.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. Well, speaking of that, though, theatrically, so this past week, Holmes and Watson came out, the John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell riff on, you know, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Yes.
And what it was first known for was that it had a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, which only a handful of movies have. So that's a distinction, right?
Yes.
And then later it was found out that I guess test screenings went so poorly that it was taken to Netflix to see if they would distribute it, and Netflix turned it down.
Too rotten for Netflix.
Which is, and that's kind of the joke, is that Netflix will take anything. I mean, you know, with that Cloverfield film that Paramount didn't feel enough confidence in, and there's also, that's another one thing too. I mean,
did you? By the way, did you see Holmes and Watson?
No, I still like Will Ferrell. I know he's kind of polarizing after X amount of years of good and bad movies.
Right.
I still like him. I even watched The House.
Okay,
so
with
that's
Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I'm still willing to give him a shot because I still find him funny. But even from the trailers, I was like, nah.
This I'll tell you, the reviews for this one have been pretty darn entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, there's a little curiosity factor with me.
Well, I want to share this one with you, Brian. This is I believe this was left on Amazon this is IMDb, and it's titled "From the Heart of a True Fan." And he says, "When I was a rookie state trooper at the age of 24, I had to knock on a door at 2 a.m. and awaken a mother and father just to tell them that their son, also 24, had been killed in an automobile accident.
Oh.
Naturally, they were distraught. I stayed in their home and answered their many questions and attempted to comfort them as best I could until family members arrived. At the mere age of 24, I was not ready for that moment, and I have spent the following 23 years secure in the notion that those 90 minutes would be the most agonizing and uncomfortable 90 minutes of my life. I was wrong. That night in 1995 will forever finish a distant second to the time I watched Holmes and Watson." So I'm kind of like, well, if the movie leads to comedy like that, then is that really a loss, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, those guys are hilarious. Like, how do they not know? I actually read a review I found pretty fascinating on Vulture, and they were talking about the direction, because they were saying Rebecca Hall is in this.
Yes.
And they said that she has one of the funniest lines in the whole movie, but the only problem is the camera's in the wrong spot.
No kidding.
And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. Like, someone who didn't really know how to capture comedy the best way and completely stepped on a joke that otherwise would have been very, very funny. So I don't know.
Well,
it just sounds like
directed by Ethan Cohen,
right?
Who has directed previous things before, but I think, to me, his claim to fame is that he is the screenwriter who Bill Murray mistook for Ethan Cohen, as in from the Coen brothers, when he agreed to do Garfield.
Yes, which is a fascinating piece of trivia.
That is right, and I feel like that's going to be like the thing he's most known for.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, he also directed, by the way, Get Hard, which is that previous Will Ferrell movie with Kevin Hart.
Oh, yes. Ugh, yeah. Well, like I said, I'm a fan, and I watched it. It was
like, still a fan. It's rough.
But you know what he did do? I wasn't going to talk about this, but this is very funny. Have you ever seen that video? Bing Crosby and David Bowie, and they sing a Christmas song, and it's kind of an awkward 1970s variety style show where, you know, David Bowie's playing a character like, "Hello, I'm looking for Mr. Carruthers' house," and Bing Crosby's like, "Well, it's not Mr. Carruthers' house, but come on out of the cold," and then they end up like singing a song together.
This is actors playing them?
No, this is really them. This like exists, and it's a good song that they end up singing, but it's just a funny sort of setup. And Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly recreated it like to the cut.
Okay.
Like the editing and word for word, and it's actually very funny. So,
well, you know what?
They're funny guys.
This
it's weird.
I think this gets to the job of being a comedy director is deceptive, because you kind of say like, oh, if I've got funny actors, I just need to point a camera at them and just let them do their thing. But I think the true artisan knows how to direct that comedy, but also which ways to focus it and how to maximize the laughs that you get from any given exchange, and knowing what to cut.
That and you know, Will Ferrell at his best tends to be with Adam McKay. Right. And it seems like Adam McKay is also a contributor, you know, like a collaborator.
Yes.
And if you don't have people like that to bounce off of, you know, and you just kind of throw out anything, a lot of it may not.
You end up with a movie even Netflix doesn't want.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But lastly, in Netflix news, I thought this was kind of fascinating. I haven't watched this yet, but just yesterday, the 28th, a new Black Mirror movie was dropped. And I was kind of excited about it because I like Black Mirror, the series. But I didn't even realize this, but it's a choose-your-own-adventure movie.
Huh.
Which is, I mean, does that even exist before this?
No.
Yeah, you know, like where you play with your remote, basically, and you can just... It starts out with just choosing which cereal the actors will eat and what songs will be playing, but then, of course, it gets a little more ominous, as Black Mirror tends to do, and decisions they have to make affect the outcome of your story. And I'm kind of looking forward to watching this. I guess, participating in it.
I mean, you know, the architecture exists for that, because when you watch a Netflix show, it gives you the option to skip past the intro. And to skip past the recap. So it makes sense that you would then have the ability to do other skipping around.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, isn't it? Because, I mean, obviously, there's like a branching, however this movie is stored, right?
Yeah.
You can just leap from, and millions of people all around the world can hopscotch around this, however this file exists somewhere. That's kind of fascinating.
That really is. That sounds super cool.
Yeah. I don't know, Netflix, man. They just keep finding ways to... I don't know, push and stay relevant.
Yeah. What else we got, Brian?
Well, lastly here, it looks like Fandango did a poll of the most anticipated movies of 2019, which is kind of interesting because I always start the year not sure about what's coming out, you know, aside from like one or two films, but I'd say all these seem kind of interesting. Should we go 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
I'll accede to you.
Let's go 10. Let's go 10. 10 is Joker, which is one of the ones that... Yeah, well, you know, I think they've done a really good job of, quote-unquote, leaking all this footage online, because I think you and I were like, what? And why? And the more we see of it, the more my interest has been piqued. So
I'm definitely more curious about it now than I was when it was announced,
Yeah.
And
so that's coming out.
October 4th, that comes out.
October 4th. Then number 9 is Dumbo. Tim Burton's Dumbo.
That's going to be a massive hit.
Yeah, and I got to say, I heard some people, friends of mine, not liking the trailer. It actually worked for me, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
That's March 29th. Number 8 is Aladdin. Well, actually the next...
Yeah, it's like we're just doing the Disney live action corner here.
987 basically is Dumbo, Aladdin, and The Lion King.
Which is
those are all the movies I liked growing up.
They're releasing all three in one year, which is kind of like I don't know if that's hubris,
right?
Or you know, because that seems like the type of thing that you spread out.
7, 8. 8 of the 10 movies on here are Disney films.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so then 6 is Glass, which I saw tracking. They're predicting like a huge opening for that, which is a little to my surprise.
Glass is a sequel to a Disney film, by the way.
That's right. Unbreakable, which came out like 2000 or something like that.
If you would have told me, first of all, if you would have told me we'd get an Unbreakable sequel, I'd be like, come on. But the idea that there is such a demand for the Unbreakable sequel, I'll tell you, we're in a place now where the twist ending is that people are excited for an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah. That I just found that I'm looking forward to it because I like Unbreakable, but I'm shocked.
Yes.
For the anticipation.
Well,
is so big for
and
that.
it's got the field to itself, basically, because it opens January 18th, and the next big movie is like, Captain Marvel, basically, which is like the early part of March.
Yeah. Or when does Us open? That Jordan Peele.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Probably like a February or March sort of thing.
All right, so even still,
Yeah.
that's, Glass will have at least a couple weeks to itself.
Yeah. But all right, now we're back in Disneyland.
March 15th, by the way, Brian.
March 15th. Oh, okay. So 5 through 1, we're all in Disney here. So Toy Story 4 is June 21st. Spider-Man Far From Home, number 4, July 5th. Number 3, Star Wars Episode 9, which is December 20th, so about a year from now. Then number 2, Captain Marvel, March 8th. And number 1, Avengers Endgame, April 26th.
So number 1 is completely not surprising.
Yeah.
I would say number 3 is somewhat surprising in that it is number 3.
I agree. I would have imagined that would have been number 2, but I don't know. The world marches forward.
The world has changed, and I think we live in, dare I say, a post-Star Wars world now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's still going to make gobs of money, but I think we talked about this when Disney bought Star Wars. I mean, inevitably, if you keep churning them out, they're going to become less and less special.
Yeah.
You could still love them, but they're not going to be events, and they're not going to be, as unique and as an experience. So.
I mean, what I have said, and I'm sure I've said this on the show, but it sure feels like, at least as far as kids go, the MCU has become what Star Wars used to be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I don't have complaints about that, but there is a little bit of sadness to me that Star Wars feels like my dad's thing,
Yeah, I mean, as long as they keep making good movies, there's a little weirdness because we've had so many years where they have been just 3 movies or just 6 movies. But, as long as they keep entertaining me, I'm always going to enjoy that galaxy, so.
There you go. And as you say that, I'm hearing some music come in, Brian.
Oh.
Why don't we say our last bit of Star Wars news for 2018?
For 2018, holy cow. So a year from now, we have Star Wars Episode 9 coming out, and as we've mentioned before, sadly, we lost Carrie Fisher, and so we wondered how the movie was going to deal with the character of Princess Leia, who obviously needs some sort of fitting, appropriate, touching send-off. And we had learned that with J.J. Abrams at the helm, they're scanning or poring over past footage that have been shot for both films, 7 and 8, and trying to see what they have and what they can work with. And we kind of wondered, well, how much do they have to work with? But Carrie Fisher's brother, Todd Fisher, who was on Good Morning America, said that he's thrilled with what Abrams is achieving so far with Episode 9, and he added that they have a surprising amount of footage to work with. His quote is, "There's a lot of minutes of footage and not just outtakes. This is unused new content that could be woven into the storyline." So, yeah, it sounds like they have the opportunity to still make her a main character in this movie and not... I think our worry was that it would just be something put to the sidelines that we would have to understand was the only way that it could be possible. But it looks like, she still could play a big role in this movie.
I mean, I think what I've said before, and I think this will be borne out, is that there will be a lot of digital doubling and things like that done that's only revealed after the fact.
Yes,
because this is the thing, they don't want to say that. They don't want to say that. They don't want to say, "Oh, we're creating a bunch of Carrie in the computer to
right.
fill in the gaps."
Right.
And so it'll be just like with Paul Walker in Fast and Furious, where it was a lot of like, oh, he had gotten most of it done. And then afterwards we find out just how the sheer volume of stuff that they recreated digitally, including creating his face in a computer.
Yeah, I think it was about 2 years or so later, they actually released a video revealing all of it.
Yeah.
But,
so I think the PR machine right now is heavily focused on the idea that, no, this is really her. Mm-hmm. But let's be candid. whatever footage exists can't, by necessity, by not even by necessity, by just by definition, it can't comprise an arc for her character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So yes, they're working with what they have, but I mean, come on, you know what I mean? Does that sound cynical? Does that sound cynical? I don't know.
No, it's just sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, I mean, she's a beloved character, and we want to see her.
Yes.
We want a fitting farewell.
Yes.
But the way to achieve that is a way that people seem to, feel disingenuous. But at the same time, I mean, there's just no way to make everybody happy. And hopefully, they find... I think that technology is advanced, and they're going to obviously have to do some trickery, and hopefully it's to a minimum, and hopefully it's not distracting.
Yes. And by the way, I also am fairly certain that Mark Hamill's role will be more substantial as a result of Carrie Fisher not being available.
Oh, that's interesting. So we have at least someone from the original trio, to sort of send off, because it's been said that this is an ending to all 9 films.
Correct.
Whatever that means. I mean, we can imagine, but
like, not to say the movie starts with him being like, "Hey, not dead. What's next? Like, what's for lunch?"
Yeah.
But
we don't know.
Yeah, if I were to guess. I mean, this is going to be fun, Brian. I got to be honest. The next year of us just speculating, and then we'll be able to look back and be like, "Well, we were wrong about like everything." But
sure,
I'm looking forward to the speculating again.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't we take a little break and let's talk about Bumblebee, which you finally got around to seeing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Very cool. And we're back. And Brian, I've been waiting for your thoughts on this movie. You got the chance to go see Bumblebee.
I did.
So this is I talked about this in our last episode. It was a film I enjoyed, and I had a feeling you would enjoy it, but I truly have no idea what you thought about it. So this has been my cliffhanger for the week.
Zachy, we've been friends for a very long time. And actually, we were going to record the other night, and Zachy's like, you sound kind of tired. Do you want to do this another day? And I was like, no, man, I'm fine. And then we hang up, and I can barely keep my eyes open, and I call him back, and I was like, you know what? I think you're right. Why don't we do this in like 2 days or something? And he's like, well, Brian, I know you. And you know what? He just keeps proving true over and over and over again, and is proven true with Bumblebee. I love this movie. You were so right. And sometimes when people say like, I know you, and you're like, no, you don't. You think you do. Like, only I know me, and I like it. I like having someone I can trust.
That's really funny.
Brian, you're probably not gonna like this. I think you're gonna like this. Absolutely right. I thought Bumblebee was just so fun.
Right?
It really. I talk about this on the show, but growing up, we have what I call these sort of 80s PG movies. Right? Like E.T. or The Goonies or all these things that we grew up loving as kids that we still love today, and we're showing to kids now, and they seem to even like them, or Indiana Jones, all that sort of thing. And Bumblebee totally feels like that movie. And I think it's obviously aided by the fact that it takes place in the 80s, so
yes.
it naturally strikes a chord with me just in terms of... But what's funny is it's not a movie that plays up its 80s-ness. Which I think is that's the way to go. I think I kept forgetting, and there's a moment at the very, very beginning where John Cena and some soldiers are under attack, and he pulls out this radio with this huge antenna, and I was like, "What the? Oh yeah, 80s." Or you go in a house and then like all the TVs have antennas. I was like, "Huh? Oh right, we're in 87." Yeah,
it's there's not a lot of like, and Ronald Reagan just got reelected by gum, and it's not a lot of that.
Yeah. No, it's totally in a fun, natural sort of way. And what I liked about it, though, and it actually felt like an 80s film right down to the goofy younger brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that kid, I was like, dude, that guy is straight out of an 80s movie. He feels like, was that Ted's younger brother? Or, like from Bill and Ted. Like he's that total John Hughes younger brother character.
The Last Starfighter, remember there's the younger brother?
Yeah. Or, his name's Jason Drucker, I think, the actor. But he is just feels plucked out of an 80s film. It's pretty funny. But yeah, much like the first Transformers by Michael Bay with Shia LaBeouf, I mean, I think what they were going for with that, and that was one where they were really playing up the Spielberg presents kind of a thing. And we would have said about that movie, it's like a boy and his dog movie, but it's a boy and his robot. And this one almost feels rebooty in a way in that this is a girl and her robot. It's the same sort of idea where she discovers this thing and it almost becomes like her pet.
Yeah.
And it just, Transformers 1 is fine enough. But this movie felt like the one that did it the way I like. It just really, really got to me. I think they spend a ton of time with her and Bumblebee. And it really is more about them than anything else. I mean, the threat of this movie almost feels like an afterthought. It just keeps getting inserted in moments just to remind you that there's something coming. And there were moments, I think those moments felt also a little like they were almost even written as afterthoughts.
Yeah.
But I just didn't care because I enjoyed the A story so much, right?
Yes.
It really becomes almost even like a series of vignettes of like this character. Her name's Charlie, played by Haley Steinfeld, which I was surprised to find out was the girl from True Grit.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I was like, man,
and she was Spider-Gwen like a week ago.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, she's so good in True Grit, so it's kind of cool. She's, I don't know, carving her way. But you really believe her in this thing and that they like each other. And you almost have this series of vignettes in the middle where they're just kind of doing stuff. And I started to notice, I was like, this isn't even really advancing the plot. But I'm just
the scene
enjoying it.
where she's out of the house and Bumblebee is stumbling around.
Down to the creeping, government sort of agents. Well, not agents, but
John Cena is Peter Coyote.
Yes,
right?
he is.
Right?
Yes, you're right. And exactly what you said. Also, there's the whole she's gone and it's stumbling around the house moment. And but honestly, I liked it.
Yes,
right. Some movie could do that and you'd roll your eyes, but this one I just found it like a loving homage or tribute or something, right? So, and I mean, even down to the point where when he is, as much as an homage as it is, there's a moment where he's banging stuff around the house, and this book falls off a shelf and lands on the floor and has a picture of E.T. Did you see that?
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. But yeah, I really liked it. So I mean, I guess you've sort of spoke to it last week, but
Yeah, I mean, I think just to add to what you're saying, I mean, I think that. Again, what you said, I think you and I tend to respond to the same things. And what I appreciated, and I had this conversation with Joe Blow's Paul Shirey on Twitter, because he really did not like it.
Fascinating.
Yes, but it's fascinating, but I know Paul too.
That's interesting. Well, and I think I know his taste a little less, but he seems to enjoy more things than most people because he sort of enjoys what things are aiming for.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of fascinated he didn't like this. So, okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
I think where he was coming from, which is entirely valid, is he prefers the Bayformers take. Mm-hmm. Which is all about excess.
Interesting.
And so this will seem lesser by comparison, but I think what you and I'm fairly certain what we responded to is the same thing, which is the economy of scale.
Yes.
The third act is something you can wrap your arms around. It makes sense. There's a specific goal. We have to stop this thing from happening. We're trying to do this, and again, it feels like something out of an '80s movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I even had that written down. I mean, the third act is completely. Not only is the action comprehensible. All throughout this movie. I mean, you can completely tell what's going on. You can tell the Transformers apart from one another. And the ending is basically like, stop this thing, one thing. And it's how can we prevent the hero from getting there? And there's all this interesting action slowing her down. But it's totally understandable, and it makes it, in my opinion, like more thrilling when you're biting your nails because you know what she needs to do.
Yeah.
And
I mean, again, the making the E.T. comparison, I like the fact that this is a story, just like E.T., it's about this person who is injured.
Yes.
Emotionally injured, and she meets this special person who gets her through this moment. And
Yeah.
it's an episode in each of their lives. They part ways, but they've made a mark on each other. You know, it's E.T.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely E.T., but I think, again, where in some other movie, if you did that, you'd roll your eyes, but this one just kind of pulled it off.
And I think that goes to, this is something I've said so often, right? Travis Knight grew up with Transformers.
It's the love is clear.
Exactly, right? And I've said this so often about so many different properties. He made the movie he saw in his head when he was watching the cartoon.
Yes.
You know, I said this about Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows a couple of years ago. I said this about Power Rangers. You could tell the person who made it is a fan. See, this is the critique I've always had of Michael Bay's Transformers movies is he uses this property as an excuse to have, explosion porn.
Right.
And you know, I mean, that's fine if that's his in, but it's clear that he doesn't come at it with the love of the mythology.
Right. Sure.
And so that's I think the fact that we're at a place now, finally, this is movie number 6 after 11 years, it's like, what's frustrating to me is like, you could have done this. You could have done this a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you chose not to. And that's sort of infuriating because you've got this opening sequence in the film that's, depicting sort of the fall of Cybertron, and you have all the Transformers, and they look like the Transformers. I mean, they look like the 80s versions of the Transformers, but even beyond looking like the 80s versions, whatever they look like you can understand what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They don't look like a bunch of Greeblies,
Right.
And I said this last week, where I'm driving home with the boys, and they're like, "Oh, did you see? RC was there, and it was Brawn, and there was Cliff Jumper, and there was, these are all the Transformers they know from the cartoon."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how is it that you made 5 movies that kids can't watch?
right.
Or kids shouldn't watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of problematic, like some of those movies get a little borderline racist, even.
Yeah. So it's awesome that this movie exists because I think it's a really good family outing.
It's a total family film, which
after you
started
watch
picking
Flight,
up.
Go to the theater and watch.
Yeah, but it was even down to her family. I kind of enjoyed the depiction of the family, and the
I like
stepdad.
that. It's I'll tell you, it's just like I mean, I'm going to use the ET comparison again and again, but it is so apt. Dee Wallace is not the enemy in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
And what I like about this film is she has certain presumptions about her stepfather that are disproven.
Yes, I like that too.
Right.
Yep.
And that, I mean, the things culminate in a way. And by the way, we haven't even talked about him. How awesome is John Cena? Just like, this guy is Dwayne Johnson too, I think. He's got the potential.
Oh, yeah. He
is so
I don't remember his
charming.
early work, but I can see him growing into a rock type person, with the more and more he does.
He is just very, very charming.
Yeah, and he has one of the best lines in the movie where, the Decepticons are trying to infiltrate, and use government satellites. And he's like, come on, their name are the Decepticons.
That's right. My oldest, just busted out laughing at that.
Oh, man, me too. I thought that was so funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I'd say my only thing, because I look, obviously I loved it, but if I had to take a step back and give notes, I would say, the movie at times feels like it's missing a bit of propulsion. In that the threat where the Decepticons are trying to sort of do their, get our satellites going and then they can overtake our planet. Like, it really did feel like more obligation, those scenes. And so there wasn't, like say in E.T., you have the mysterious agents closing in and E.T. needs to phone home and get to his ride in time. Right. And I felt like a little bit of that propulsion was missing from this movie.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But I honestly didn't really care. Like, I was having a good enough time, and the obligations were met. And then, of course, it led to a fun climax, and then also I felt the neighbor character, the boy.
Yeah,
I felt he just felt like forced into the film in the middle.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's because they needed a character for her to talk to
bounce
so
off
she
of.
could. Yeah. But once he's in the film, I thought they worked well together.
I do think it's interesting that, and this might seem obvious now, but like it doesn't end with them as a couple.
Yes. I
I
wasn't feeling that from them. I wasn't really getting a ton of chemistry from them, so
Sure.
I'm kind of glad they didn't force it. I was getting like a friendship vibe, but I wasn't getting it.
Right, and I think that's kind of interesting that we see that a lot more in movies. Specifically, Haley Steinfeld just in Spider-Verse with Spider-Gwen.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
Right,
I
like
didn't even think of that.
it's like friends, and I'm thinking about that now, and maybe I'm just now that I have a daughter, I'm viewing things differently. I'm like, I'm glad that we have female characters whose entire focus in the film doesn't culminate in, oh, now I'm going to kiss this guy.
Yeah, or I'm going to give up whatever I was aiming for at first because now this guy's in my life or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is me as a Transformers fan. I like where the film leaves us, where if they choose to, they could just ignore the 5 Michael Bay movies, which that would be my inclination, especially because we get an Optimus Prime who looks exactly like Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
The classic Optimus Prime, including in his truck form, by the way, which made my kids were like, it made me happy that they were so happy to see that, I'm like, I have raised these kids right. But, but it's funny because box office wise, the movie's only doing okay.
Isn't that just the way?
So I'm looking at, I pulled up here Scott Mendelson over at Forbes, and he says that, let's see, Bumblebee right now, so as of the time we're recording this, is at 67 million total, which means that it may push to reach the 131 million that Transformers: The Last Night made, which is the lowest grossing of the 5 previous films.
Man, but also, not that this should always be the end-all be-all, but it's really highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it's in the 90s, right?
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, Cinema Score is an A.
Yeah.
So, in other words, people who are going to see it like it.
And it's interesting, too, with Spider-Man. I've talked to some people in my life and asked if they've seen it or, they want to see it. And most people don't want to see it.
Yeah, because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, which was, I mean, I know you and I are kind of plugged into this stuff and follow these things. So we had an anticipation because we've been reading about it or whatever. But I was totally surprised. I'm like, oh, it's Spider-Man. I thought everyone wants to see it.
And it's funny because when I watched it, I that night I tweeted, I said, don't blow it off because you think it's just a cartoon.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
People don't listen to me, man. How much better of a world would we be if people would just listen to me?
Listen to Zeki. Yeah.
That's all. Is that too much to ask? I ask you. But I think that's a good place to... Did you have anything else to add about
I have to call out. There's a lot of like 80s, sort of Easter eggs in this thing.
Yes.
The Breakfast Club is quite obvious, but there's like lines from Heathers and nods to Big Trouble in Little China. But the one, I actually looked at my friend, I was like, are you hearing this? Was the moment where the bad guys are threatening a good Transformer. And he basically says, if you won't tell us where Optimus Prime is, then perhaps someone else, will. And the guy goes, never! I was like, that's Return of the Jedi! Like, literally line for line. That's amazing.
That's great.
I almost wanted to, I wish the director had been in there, in the back row, and he could have seen me go, ah! I saw it!
Now, by the way, Travis Knight, he did Kubo and the Two Strings, which I know you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But we're checking out if you ever get a chance.
Yeah. I know that. I know that it's kind of beloved. I gotta get around to it.
Yeah, a very confident live action debut. So I'm very interested to see what he does next.
Yeah, agreed. And hey, I was gonna say my brother was trying to find a movie to watch the other night. And the first thing that came to my mind out of all the movies that are out, and I was like, go see Bumblebee.
There you go.
So I recommend it.
And I'm going to say that to everybody listening. If you haven't seen it, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And given where you and I have both been with previous Transformer films, I've said before that to me the joy of watching those films is purely related to recording with you.
Yes.
Because the 2 episodes that we did since we started doing the show, we did for number 4 and number 5, and those are probably my favorite episodes we've ever done of this podcast.
Yeah.
It's so very funny. So, and I remember when we talked about this movie, we were like, "What the hell?
Yeah,
That sounds ridiculous." So I'm happily eating crow.
Yeah, agreed.
Because
if this is where they're headed, maybe they're course correcting a little bit.
Maybe. This is a treat that is absolutely worth watching, and I hope people will. I hope our word counts for something.
Yeah.
You know. But I think that wraps up 2018 for us, Brian. What do you think?
I guess so. Hard to believe, but on a good note.
It's been a ride. It's been a rush, and we'll be back in our next episode, roughly a week from now. We'll be talking through our favorite movies of 2018.
Yeah, I feel like I have a few things I need to catch up on.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to hustle through the remainder of my screeners, but we'll be back soon to have that conversation, and we'll be back with the first of many commentary tracks. Brian, coming up in February is the 30th anniversary of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Ooh.
And it feels like that might be something you and I want to talk through.
That could be a fun one.
That could be fun. So I will look forward to that, and plenty more. There are anniversaries aplenty coming up. And I actually, this is a peek behind the curtain. I've got a little scratch pad on my phone where I have movie release dates and anniversary dates and everything listed, so that I know. I already know what commentaries we're planning to drop this year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 89 was a big one.
It was a big one.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. So thank you, everybody, for making 2018 so fun and special here doing this show. And I hope you all will stick around in the coming year. And Brian, you want to drop a plug for your TV show?
Yeah, and I want to add to that. Yeah, I can't even stress enough. I mean, when we get these emails and these comments, and it's just delightful knowing that people are enjoying what they're listening to, but just hearing everybody else's take on the things, that we're talking about, it's just really fulfilling. It makes this worth doing. And so I just wanted to second that. It's really great. And I hope people keep appreciating listening, and then to the new year. Hopefully we can keep it up.
Amen.
But I write for a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which is on Disney and Disney Junior. And apparently it's on all day. So I was kind of flipping through the DVR, and I was like, wow, this is on all the time. So I think if you have young kids or you enjoy watching fun little shows about puppies on adventures around the world, check it out.
Well, there we go. And as for me, you can find me at my website, ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter, and that's also my Instagram. I also want to drop a plug for the Movie Film Podcast's sister show, Nostalgia Theater, where we had 2 episodes this month, including my conversation with Dan Gilvezan, who was the original Bumblebee on the original 1980s animated show. He's also Spider-Man on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And I said before, but it was a surreal and special experience for me, and I hope you will enjoy that. Also, on Christmas Day, I dropped my commentary track with John Trumbull for Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which celebrated its 25th anniversary on Christmas Day. So I had a great time talking with him. John is one of the preeminent historians of Batman the Animated Series. He wrote the oral history of the show, having talked to just about everybody involved. And so I had a great time really just sitting and listening to him drop knowledge about one of the most primal and beloved depictions of that character. And I think it made for a great episode. So I hope everyone will check those out.
I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, I think for sure, Brian, you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
And of course, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Let us know what you think of the show. Send us your feedback, moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com, or hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and you can send us a message there, as people do, and you can tweet at us, whatever. We love hearing from you, and as Brian said, it's just a thrill. It continues to be a thrill. Yeah. We've been doing this show now for 6 years.
Wow.
And it has not gotten old, so that tells you something.
Yeah.
And we'll be back shortly. So thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on your radio.